setting that up took a lot longer than I first anticipated. I was recently talking to a couple of my friends, and we're talking about a lot of Harry Potter opinions, and I had quite different views to them, so I was like, why not take some of my Harry Potter unpopular opinions? I've got my handy dandy Deathly Hallows notebook that I'm going to be reading some of these from. I've tried to put them in order from like, not that, like yeah, a lot of people see that, to, ooh, that's kind of weird. But I don't know if I've actually done that, but I'm gonna start off with Harry. And I know the series is called Harry Potter and insert here, but he's actually quite overrated. I feel like Harry is quite overrated, and I don't want to say boring, but he is a little bit boring. He's not that exciting. The whole series is kind of like, oh, Harry, there's a problem, go fix it. There's a problem, go fix it. There's a problem, go fix it. But he's not really that useful. Like, I think we can all agree in the Golden Trio, it was portrayed, especially in the movies, that Hermione is like 99% of the brains, Harry's like 1%, and Ron is just kind of there for the ride. But that does seem quite accurate. I don't think Harry is really portrayed as well as he could have been, not by Daniel Radcliffe, but by the directors. I don't think he could have been, I think he could have been used more to his potential. Moving on. Okay. Hermione or Drarry is a no from me. I don't like it. I know a lot of you love your enemies to lovers tropes, but to me, I just don't think it would make sense. For Drarry, I can kind of get that. I kind of get that, like, oh, Draco wanted to be Harry's friend.
Oh, friend! Fucking football friend!
Hermione is just a no. Like, there is not a chance. No, there's not one bone in my body where I believe that could have ever happened or ever will happen. Because he hates her. They hate each other. He literally is like calling her slurs, and people are like, oh, Hermione, it's not gonna happen. I can't back it. I really can't back that. And that leads me on to the next one. Scorpius and Rose. Now, I have not read The Cursed Child yet. Do not get me wrong, I have not read The Cursed Child yet. But from talking to people who have, they've told me that Scorpius Malfoy and Rose Weasley get together. Apparently they get together in the book, or what? I don't get it. I really don't get it, because Draco is so like, oh, pure blood, I shan't ever get with a half-blood or a muggle-born or anything. And being his son, like, I feel like he would have grown up, especially before being at Hogwarts, he would have grown up with not Draco's views, but with Draco telling him, like, this is how this works, this is how this is not going to work, this is, like, no muggle-borns, no half-bloods, nothing. So I don't get it. I don't see how that, and I know that was probably very like pleasing for Hermione shippers to see, but I just don't see the logical side. I don't think it would have happened. And talking about Draco, next point, Draco's redemption scene. Everyone has seen Draco's redemption scene. You know, Draco throws the wand to Harry, and he's like, Potter, and he throws it to him. It's a no from me. And I'm glad that wasn't in the movies. I'm glad that was not included in the movies. And I'm glad it didn't happen, because it doesn't make sense. We know that Draco is a bad guy. We know that he is mean, he's a bully. And I know that people are like, oh, but it shows the good in him. Like, we've kind of seen that. We've seen him in the bathroom crying after he hexes Katie Bell, or gives her the necklace that's hexed, but we've seen the guilt. We've seen how he didn't like how he did that. He doesn't believe that he should have done that. I think that's where it should have been left, and I'm glad that kind of was where it left. J.K. Rowling, of course, we do not stan her here, but we stan that she's portrayed him as a bully, and I feel like we should have kept that. Like, to keep that throughout the thing, by not adding the redemption, it kind of shows, yeah, he's a bully, and we've seen that all the way through. So, no redemption theme. The next one. Snape was good. I liked Snape. I like Snape. I really, really like Snape. He is my favourite professor. He was a good... And I'm always like, oh, he helped Harry, and they're like, oh, but he bullied Harry for like 7 years. Yeah, but like, he helped him. I think Snape was a good professor. Yeah, it was an unbreakable vow, but he did like save Draco. He did like Avada Kedavra Dumbledore. And I just think Snape was a good guy. I think that Snape was brilliant. I do like Snape. He's my favourite professor, and he was a good guy. Now, talking about Dumbledore. I don't like Dumbledore, and a lot of people see this. I believe Dumbledore had it coming. Should have died. That's it, really. A lot of people don't like Dumbledore. I do not like Dumbledore, not one bit. Talking about more people who deserved it, and I'm sorry to anyone who does not see this. Dobby deserved it. Dobby deserved it. He died and he deserved it. Because does anyone remember at the end of the Chamber of Secrets when Harry's like, oh, never try and save my life again? He specifically told Dobby not to save his life and not to like help him, and then Dobby tries to do it again and then he died doing it. Well, yeah, you deserved it because you were specifically told not to do that, and you did it and you died. Like, Dobby had it coming. Dobby deserved it. He deserved it. Sorry. Deathly Hallows was the worst. I didn't enjoy it. I really, really did not enjoy Deathly Hallows. It doesn't feel like the Harry Potter franchise. It doesn't seem connected to me. It just doesn't feel like it flows well. They're not really at Hogwarts. Like, they're spending all this time like out in the woods looking for things, and it just seems to just go round in circles. I did not enjoy it, and I very much refrain from like rewatching it or having anything to do with it because I don't like it. Talking about the Deathly Hallows, and I have quite a few around the Deathly Hallows, we all agree this Draco looks musty at the end. They did him really dirty, and that is not an unpopular opinion. That is quite a popular opinion. They did him wrong. They did him very, very, very wrong. Harry should have died. Sorry. Harry should not have lived. And I'm not talking about, you know, when he was like a child and a baby. No. I'm talking about the Battle of Hogwarts. When Harry Potter is dead. When he died, he should have died. That should have been it. Should have been the end. He shouldn't have come back. And side note here, but I get that they're all afraid of Voldemort, but when Voldemort announces that Harry is dead and Ginny screams, and as soon as Voldemort says silent, she just stands there like, come on Ginny, you're setting feminism back about like 50 years, like, don't do what you're told, not by a man. Harry and Ginny's children, did she have no choice in those names? Because what were those names? Albus Severus Potter? No. He should not have had any choice with those child names. Why can we have one called like Molly because of his mum, or Fred? You know, like, oh sorry, like it's just my brother. No. Harry's like, but did he save me? I don't think so. Especially not Dumbledore. God. Anyway, Prisoner of Azkaban. And I don't want to say it because a lot of people love this, but it was boring. And you know, I do really like it. I have read the books, by the way. I do keep referring to the movies, but have read the books. But it's boring because I like the beginning. I like the beginning, but the Time Turner was such a cheap plot. Like, it was like, and I just can't be bothered to rewatch and reread exactly what just happened. Like, it's just boring. The Weasleys being poor doesn't make sense to me because they're pure blood. And I'm not saying all pure bloods are rich. And I get that people are like, oh, 7 kids, 1 provider is not going to be... Yeah, but I don't get how they're extremely, extremely poor, especially with them kind of being from the Wizarding world. And when they went to the Quidditch World Cup, they had that massive tent, and they were like, it looked very luxurious, and they're meant to be like really poor. And I think it was just too much. I think JK wanted to add a little bit more, make it like a little bit different, but it was just too much, and it was just kind of boring and cheaply done. It doesn't make sense. And the final one, and I'm really sorry to people who disagree, which will probably be a lot, but Snape and Lily over Snape and James. I'm sorry. I will hold my hands up and say I deeply apologise for that. But Snape, something about Snape and Lily just feels right. Just not Snape, just not Lily and James. Because, and I'm not saying, like, when I say this, it's always like, oh, what about James? Snape really loved Lily, and he really liked her ever since they were kids. And I'm not saying that James didn't love Lily, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that I just think that Snape should have ended up with Lily. And I have this conversation a lot, and a lot of people say to me, oh, Snape was such, like, a bad guy. Lily, like, James and Lily just died, and Harry was there crying, and he went to Lily. And I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Like, he kind of, like, yeah, he should have done anything there was a child, but he kind of really loved Lily. I get for him to go over to Lily first, like, oh, the love of my life kind of just died, like. But I think Snape should have ended up with Lily. And I'm really sorry, but I really think Snape should have ended up with Lily and not James. I really think he should have ended up with Lily. Welp. I guess if that happened, we never would have got Harry Potter. Okay, thank you so much for watching. If you have made it this far, I kind of deeply apologise. But also, thank you very much. And please subscribe. Maybe like the video. Click the thumbs up button. But thank you so much. And here's Sirius, and we both say goodbye. And until next time, goodbye.